short Amud. It's a little bit cheshbon. So just pay attention. And we have to go over it, so I'm going to say quickly because we're not much time. So again, we learned, you have to hold cup here. Remember what it says in the Mishnah about Yitzias Shabbos. So we said, Yitzias Shabbos, going to repeat the Mishnah, Yitzias Shabbos Shtayim Shein Arba. So basically what it means is like this. Remember, Hoitzah, as we're going to see, Hoitzah classically simply means to take it out. So that means if you're in your Rosh Yeshiva and you transfer and take out something to Rosh Rabbim, you were taking it out. That's Hoitzah. Okay? So now, that's the Malacha Hoitzah. Now, what we're going to see is Be'etzem, almost identical to that, is Hachnasa. Hoitzah and Hachnasa are really one and the same. I'm in the Rosh Rabbim and I bring Rosh Rabbim to Rosh Yochid. Hachnasa. So the Mishnah gives what's Shtayim Shein Arba Bachut and Shtayim Shein Arba Shtayim Shein Arba Bachut. Essentially 8 different variations of Hoitzah. Now 4 of them are Deraisa and 4 not. Okay? So basically, and this is the way the Tana sets it up. The case of Hoitzah, now you can look at it in 2 ways. There's the person standing on the outside, he's bringing in or taking out. You know, that's Hoitzah. Bringing in is Hachnasa. And that's the ani. There's the Balabayas, is the person on the inside taking out or bringing in. Those are the 4 deraisa situations, and you can make 4 different other variations of each of those, or two of each, and that's 4, and where it's only doing part. Remember, important side to have Hoitzah deraisa, you need a kira and hanacha. Okay, that's basically what says the Mishnah. So you have to just hold on here, and we're going to see it's pretty much it's just a question and answer on base. Okay, it'll take us a few minutes. We'll learn it. It's not hustle. So basically, what we're going to do is we're not going to quote a Mishnah in Shavuos where it lists this similar cases where we use this terminology of Shtayim Shein Arba. And really what we're just trying to get the punchline here is that we see that it's set up differently over there, Klapei Shabbos, than it is over here. The story goes as follows. Tanas Shuas Shtayim Shein Arba. There are 2 types of shtuas. You say, I'm going to eat, I'm going to eat. It's really 4, or past tense. I did it, didn't eat. Okay? There's 4 variations there. Yisatuma is also Shtayim Shein Arba, or whether or not I didn't know. And I didn't know it was Tameh, and I ate kachim when it was, or I didn't know it was kachim, or I didn't know it was Besamigdash, right? I was lacking a certain knowledge that made it Tuma B'Shaykig. Similarly, the 3rd case, Maros the Goyim, Shtayim Shein Arba, it's 2, which has 4 variations, a total of 4 variations, that goes in different, in the Goyim, whether it's, I don't remember exactly, it's Se'esu Baheres, and there's different shades. Se'esu Baheres are different types of the Goyim, and in colors, and there's different shades of the Se'esu Baheres. That's Shtayim Shein Arba. Okay. This is that's all just part of the Mishnah there. It's not so relevant to our discussion. So now it says as follows. So then it says over there, it's Yitzias Shabbos. It's also Shtayim Shein Arba. Great. Very similar to what we learned in Shabbos. But the Gemara says it's chayra. It's a contradiction because Mishnah has the Tani Shtayim Shein Arba. Period. That's the whole Mishnah, the whole statement over there in Shavuos. And Hacha Mishnah the Tani Shtayim Shein Arba. So that's the question. So why is it that there only says Shtayim Shin Harba, and here it says Shtayim Shin Harba B'fnim, Shtayim Shin B'chutz, so here it's double the cases of Shtayim Shin Harba. So why, what is different, what is a different rule of presentation over here in Shabbos than it is in Shavuos? That's the question. Okay, that's the main question right now of this Amud. So the more answers, Hacha the Tani Shtayim Shinarba, Hacha the Ikar Shabbos, Tani Avos, or Tani Tolas. Well, since this is the main, what is the difference between here and there? Here, Shabbos and there. The difference is, this is the main source of Shabbos. So we're willing to discuss everything. There, that's not the main topic. It's just a listing of the different possible cases of Shtayim Shin Arba. So Hasa the Lavik Shabbos Avos Tani told us like Tani. Okay, we didn't discuss this really yet, but there's something called a Tolda. And also, if you learned this in Bava Kama, you know what a Tolda is. Avos in Bava Kama is defined as that which is explicitly written in the Torah. Toldas are halachically identical to the Avos, and you're chayiv on them, but they're not written explicitly. So there we only write explicit. Now we're going to see that's not so simple. So the Gemara says, now, let's analyze that. Avos maniu. What is the of? Itzias, chatzah, taking out. Again, taking out means I'm inside, I'm Mishus Yochid, I take it outside. That's Itzias. So if that's the case, then it doesn't make sense, because Itzias Tre'av. You can take, there's two ways you can take it outside. You can give two scenarios. There's one is the ani sticks his hand and pulls it outside, or the balabais takes it from inside and puts it outside. Those are two scenarios. Train half v'chitema. So maybe man the chiyav, man the ptur. So okay, you're right. We're talking about itzos, but maybe the difference is that we say four. And again, we're only talking about Yitzias, but we'll do Yitzias, which are to Rabbanan also. You can have Yitzah going from the Rosh Yeshiva to the Rosh Yeshiva also in a way which is only to Rabbanan, where there's only an Akira or an Ocha, and there's only to Rabbanan. So the Gemara says, yeah, but that doesn't make sense. Because if again, we're all explaining that, we're trying to explain right at this point the Shtayim Shin Arba in Shavuos. Because there it has to be Dumya Demaras, the Goyim. It doesn't make sense that we're talking about doing Hoitzah where you're not chayav, we're only potter. That would not be parallel with the case of Maras the Goyim. So again, we go back to the drawing board. So what is it and why over there in Shavuos it says Shtayim Shin Arba, a total of 4. And here it says Shtayim Shin Arba b'fnim, Shtayim Shin Arba chutz. What's going on? Stira. So we're now going to answer the question. This is the answer. So this is it. So again, remember the difference. The difference is that over here in our Masechta Shabbos, this is our main discussion. Our topic is Shabbos. That's the whole parak of Masechta Shabbos. So here we list everything. We list the cases we do on Tzah, we're chayiv, right? If a person does a malach on Shabbos, it's chayiv achatos. I'll show you. Amazing, it's chayiv skira. So we list chiyuvi, and also turi, which means to say you're not allowed to do it because but you're not chayiv here because you only did a kiri, you only did a itzah, you only did a hanacha. So we give. That's what we come up with 8 variations of the case. Hasam and Shavuos, which is not a Shabbos, so we want to be brief. So we're going to just stick to Uchiyuvi Tani. We'll talk about the 4 cases of Chiyav of Itzah, whether it's two variations of Itzah, 2 variations of Achnah, so that's all Chiyuvi. And P'turei Loi Tani. So the Gemara now explains Chiyuvi, what are the Chiyuvi? Ma'anino Yitzias. So 1 second. So the Chiyuvi, the Raisa of Itzah, Yitzias. Yitzias again means you're taking from inside the house, which is the to the outside. Frekte Gemara, Yitzias Taltin. But there's only 2 cases of Yitzias. That's if the ani is inside, he takes it outside. The balabais is outside, and he sticks his hand inside, takes it outside. Those are Yitzias. Deraisa, it's only two cases. Yitzias tartar gavra. Shtaim do So more answers. Nay. More answers. Shtaim do itzah, v'shtaim do ichnasa. No, there's really four. Because we count two of itzah, and for the same reason, we count achnasa. It's not, it's you're bringing it in, but technically speaking, it's the same exact concept of itzah. And even though maybe that's not, we're not calling that we thought it was a little bit different, but no, it's the same Isur Deraisa. No reason not to count it. So it's Shtayim and Shtayim. So that's why in Shavuos we do get to four, even if we only count Deraisas. Fact the Gemara, okay, so you counted two Oitzah and two Achnotza. But I still have a problem with that. Because Hayitzias Katani. But why then, if you look at the words of the Mishnah in Shavuos, it says, Arba Yitzias Shabbos. 4 Yitzias. That's not Achnasa. This doesn't sound right. Yitzias Katani. So we're going to have two answers to this question. First one is, Amar Rav Ashi, Tana Achnasa Nami Yitzhak. Really, the terminology Yitzia and Achnasa are somewhat interchangeable. Of course, there's a certain connotation from Achnasa versus Yitzia. One is going from in the house to out, and one is from out to in. But it's the same exact concept. So you can use them both ways. Achnasa Nami Yitzhak Karilei. And I'll prove it to you. We're going to learn this Mishnah later on. In Perek HaZorek, Mitnan. Hamoitzi, Rishus Rishus Chayev. Person who's moitzi. Anytime you take from one Rishus to another Rishus, you're chayev. That's a malach of itzah. Now, that's an inclusive statement. We know it's given to Kamayim Rishus Harabim, Rishus Hayachim. Even if it's technically hachnasa, you're going from outside Rishus Harabim to the inside, it's still called the malach of moitzi Rishus Rishus Chayev. So you see that we interchangeable, the itzah hachnasa are interchangeable. We can switch from one to the other, that's no problem. And yet, Kakorile, Itzah, doesn't bother us. So therefore, also here in Shavuos, there are Shtaim Shein Arba Itzahis, we include Achnasa. Now, why is that? Let's understand the terminology. V'taimamai. Because if you're doing Achnasa, why would you use the term Itzah? So there's an answer to that question. Because Kol Akiras Chayfetz Min Koyim Tana Itzah Karile. Every time what's the term against in Otzah? Even if you're bringing it from the outside to the inside, you're machnes, you're bringing it in. It's still, the concept is, I'm moving a chayfetz from its place. That's the malacha. That's the problem. Otzah. So therefore, it's always could be called Otzah. Now this is a if you pay attention to our Mishnah and Shabbos, it says Yitzias and Kafar Shachnasa. The first case is the ani is being machnes, is putting it in. That's Achnasa. It's called Arba Yitzias. So obviously it's very obvious that they're interchangeable. Alter Shmamino. Rav Amar, this is the second teretz of the question. Again, the question is, why, if we're talking about Achnasa, how can you use the word terminology Yitzia? So Rav has a slightly different teretz. A little harder with this teretz, but this is another teretz. It says, you misunderstood the word Yitzias. Yitzias doesn't mean taking out necessarily in this context. It means Rishuyos Katani. There are 4 different situations of taking something out of one area, one domain, Rishuyos domain, to another domain. Rishuyos Shabbos, Rishuyos Katani, Rishuyos Shabbos Shtayim Shein Arba. There are 2 different Rishuyos, which are 4. There's Rishuyos Yachid, Rishuyos Rabim, and there's different situations where you're taking one for the other, which are 4. B'chutz and b'fnim, which comes up to 8, and that's how you have the case. Okay, that's the case.